President.
Mr. Majority Leader.
I ask unanimous consent the call of quorum be terminated.
Without objection.
Mr. President, excuse me. I'm sorry that it's taken so long. There's a lot of things to do around here. The conference report has been filed. As I said earlier today, I appreciate very much the work of everyone, including our very, very hardworking staff on both sides of the Capitol. But there's no need for us to wait anymore. We're not going to finish this tonight. We're going to have to come back tomorrow. I've talked to a number of people, and I wanted to make sure before anything was announced that the papers had been filed, and they have been. We have a number of issues that we're trying to work through procedurally, and we're not going to be able to do that tonight. And I'm going to passing blame on anyone because we all have a lot to do tomorrow. A lot of things that we are going to have to put on hold. It's a very big work period for us the next 10 days. But I think it's appropriate to say we'll be back at 10 o'clock in the morning to finish this legislation and do it as quickly as we can. We don't know what time the Senate is going to vote on this. I'm sorry, the House. I don't know what time the House is going to vote on this tomorrow. But we may have to wait now until they pass it. That's one of the things we're working on. But we've done our very best to try to complete things tonight. But we're not going to be able to do that. I'm disappointed. I've heard that from many, many people, how disappointed they are that we couldn't move further down the road, but that's the way it is.
Mr. President, would the Senator yield?
I'd be happy to yield to my friend, the Chairman of the Judiciary Committee.
Mr. President, I know the distinguished Majority Leader has been working very hard to get this accommodate senators in a vote, and I know he's gotten the support of every member of our caucus in doing that. I believe I heard the distinguished leader say it would come in at 10.
Yes. If I thought it would help to come in earlier, I would do that, but but it would only be.
Okay. The Senator anticipated my next question, and I appreciate that.
We likely can't do anything until the House votes on the bill tomorrow, but we're trying to work through that. I have to say this. The House has been extremely cooperative in everything that we've done the last few days. I see on the floor my friend, the Chairman of the Environment Public Works Committee. She knows how hard this has been and how cooperative the Republicans have been. No one has been more so than the ranking member of the Environment and Public Works Committee, Jim Inhofe. I will always admire Jim Inhofe for the work that, I'll be darned, here he is. I will always admire Jim Inhofe for the manner in which he approached this important piece of legislation. And we've passed out accolades on this floor about everyone, how hard they worked, but we would not be able to get this bill done except for Jim Inhofe. Fact. And so I'm disappointed we can't do things tonight, but we're not going to be able to do that. As the Chairman of the committee, Chairman of the Judiciary Committee just said, we would stay here tonight on our side until the wee hours of the morning because we have some things that I was scheduled to be in Lake Tahoe tomorrow, but I can't be there. And other people have certainly more important trips than that, but that's one of the things that we have to face with these jobs that we have, which are tremendous privilege, but sometimes we don't have the ability, as a governor does, or a president does, or a member of the court does, to just say the schedule's this way. That isn't how it works here. There's 100 different leaders here, each thinking that they have the best way of solving the problems of the world, and it takes a while sometimes to work through their opinions. Mr. President, I ask now unanimous consent that we now proceed to print morning business. Senators allowed to speak for up to 10 minutes each.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent the Senate proceed S. Res. 514.
Clerk will report.
SRS 514, commemorating the victory of Loyola University, Maryland in the 2012 NCAA Division I Men's Lacrosse National Championship.
Is there objection to proceed? Hearing and seeing no objection, the motion is
I ask unanimous consent the resolution be agreed to. The preamble be agreed to. The motion reconsider be laid on the table. There be no intervening action or debate. Any related statements be placed in the record as if read.
without objection.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent when the Senate completes the business day to adjourn until 10 a.m. on Friday, June 29th. Following the prayer and the pledge, journal proceedings be approved today. The morning hour be deemed expired. The time for the two leaders be reserved for the use later in the day. At that time, I be recognized. That senators be permitted to speak for up to 10 minutes each.
Without objection.
The Transportation Conference report was filed in the House moments ago. We hope to get the consent to move forward on this very early in the morning. I would hope that there could be a couple of votes on this. I hope we can get them over with very, very quickly. So, Mr. President, as disappointed as we all are, not being able to finish this tonight, I ask consent that
Would the Senator yield?
be happy to yield to my friend.
Any chance to have our pilots bill unwrapped?
We'll hold things up for a minute, just double check. I note the absence of quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader,
I ask unanimous consent that under the
we're in a
order
quorum
that
call
I ask consent the call of quorum be terminated.
without objection.
Mr. President, if there's no further business to come before the Senate, I ask that it adjourn under the order previously entered by the chair.
Without objection. Senate will stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Friday, June 29th.
Senators spent time on the floor today talking about today's